For all faculty being interviewed?
Most eventually.
Most eventually. Okay.
Okay. It is now 12:26 on November 3rd, 2011, and I am currently with Dr. Kavars in his office in Wagner. I'm now going to ask him a few structured interview questions. What was your path to the academy?
My path to the academy. I came to the academy right out of grad school. I was an undergraduate student at the University of Iowa, majored in physics and astronomy, and that led to going to graduate school after that, primarily because I did not know what to do after undergraduate school, and graduate school seemed like the best thing to do at that point. I really had no idea where I was headed. I really had no idea where I was headed for a career at that point. So I went to graduate school, went to the University of Minnesota, spent 5 years there working on my PhD. And during those 5 years, I started teaching labs and really got into teaching, had a lot of fun teaching, and came to the conclusion that a career in teaching was the thing for me. And as I was narrowing down, kind of ending my graduate school career, I started looking for jobs and saw a job ad for this one and applied. Came out for an interview, and during the interview process, I fell in love with this place. I was really excited during the interview because I had a chance to teach a class of academy students, and things went really well. And then I got the job offer, and had to make a decision about whether coming out here is the right thing to do. But we made that decision, and here I am.
What year was it that you started teaching here?
I started in the fall of 2006.
What aspects of your work at the academy have had the greatest meaning for you?
What aspects of the academy have the greatest meaning to me? Working with the students, trying to, not really getting, I teach physics and astronomy, and in physics I don't really have this big goal of making sure that students have a perfect understanding of physics itself, especially at the general physics level, which is what I teach. I really want students to sort of have a greater appreciation of the world around them, the science world around them. So working with students and helping them get to that, the gotcha moment where it kind of clicks in their mind and they're able to kind of piece together what they see around them to what's actually kind of going on in physics. That's a big thing. Seeing them be successful on something where they thought that they couldn't achieve success. We get a lot of students in physics who have this mindset from their previous high school experience that they can't do physics, that they just can't do this, and they can. And when they realize that they can, then that's a big thing. And just talking to students in general, and a lot of them will come in and talk about random things, is a lot of fun.
What do you wish you had known about the academy before you began working here?
What do I wish I had known about the academy? That's a tough question. I think I really didn't, I didn't have a clear understanding of, I probably didn't have a clear understanding of the students. I interviewed here, and so I have 1 hour with the students in that one class. And in that one class, they're as perfect as they're ever going to be, because it's somebody who's new there, and they're not necessarily doing all the little things that they might be doing in the class that maybe they really shouldn't be doing. But I don't know if that's something I could have figured out before actually teaching here. You learn really quickly that academy students, as bright as they are still 16, 17, and 18-year-olds, and they have the maturity of a 16, 17, and 18-year-old. And there's nothing you can do about that. And I think that's something that kind of didn't quite click with me when I was going through the hiring process. But I also think that that's what makes them special. They're bright students who are still need guiding in certain ways. Other than that, I don't really know that there's anything that was a big surprise to me.
What does the social dynamic of the academy workplace compare to that of your previous workplace? How? Sorry.
The social dynamic from here compared to my previous workplace probably hasn't changed all that much. I was a graduate, before I came here, I was a graduate student. I had a group of, we were a small department, so I knew all the other graduate students in astronomy. We talked all the time. We did things outside of school all the time. Things here are obviously a little bit different because at the academy, you've got teachers who are just sort of starting out their careers like I was at the time. You've got teachers who are in the middle of their careers and the teachers who are at the end of the career. So in terms of an age difference, there's a huge age difference in the faculty that I work with. But they've all been very easy to talk to. I've had no problems, striking up friendships with certain faculty here. Some of us still do things outside of the academy, getting together and things like that. So it's a really good social atmosphere here. It's not just a bunch of faculty who are teaching their own classes, sitting in their own offices, not conversing with each other. And, I really enjoy that. And that's something that I picked up in my interview process too. Because it's not, there are other things when you're looking at a job, there's other things that you look for. And one is, how are you going to work with the other faculty here? And I've just felt comfortable from day one.
How do you think having worked at the academy will affect your future?
How is having worked at the academy, how will it affect my future? Hopefully in a good way. I think that, this is my first real full-time job. My job before this was a graduate student where you might be teaching a class or two, but most of your work is doing research. You're on your own all the time. And, this has been a big learning experience for me on how to, let's see how I word this, I guess it's been a big learning experience in time management, how to work in a full-time job, plus have a family at home. I didn't have a family at home other than my wife before I ended my graduate school career, and we had kids shortly after that. So I think that in terms of time management, doing all of the things that the academy demands, yet still having time at home and things like that has been a, not really a big adjustment, but it's been a learning experience, and that will certainly help me later on. In terms of, maybe potentially teaching somewhere else in the future, at the academy, we kind of have the best of both worlds. We're teaching high school students, so you've got that high school experience, but we're teaching high school students college level courses. We've got all the dual credit courses. Most of the courses that are not dual credit are still taught at a higher level. So you kind of got that college atmosphere with the high school atmosphere. And I think that's a good mix that will certainly help out in any potential future endeavors.
What unique qualities does the academy possess?
What unique qualities does the academy possess? The students. You guys are all unique in some way. It's that faculty-student interaction is really neat to me, is having taught at the college level before. And I still teach at the college level here. A lot of times we'll have one semester at Ball State with regular college students over there. And that relationship, that back and forth between students is so much different with academy students than with college students. Academy students are much more willing to come down here to my office and talk. They're much more willing to pass by my office and come in and talk, even if they have nothing to talk about in class. Or they might even not even be in my class. Maybe they took a class from me last year, and they'll come down and they'll say hi, or they'll have some questions about something, and whether that's college or a career or things like that. And they come down and they just talk, and that's a lot of fun. It's fun kind of getting out of that strict teacher-student role and being able to talk about other things, and that's unique here. It doesn't happen at the college level. At least not in the numbers that we see here. And plus you guys are right here too.
Yeah.
Which is always nice. You have no excuse for not coming to office hours because you're here. We teach in the same place that you live. So that's the sort of the unique aspect of it, that residential side of things.
Okay. Do you notice any specific characteristics of the students here that you wouldn't at a normal high school?
I think, and I don't always see things on the residential side all that much as a faculty member. I see things in the classroom. I see how you guys kind of interact in the lounges and in the hallways and stuff like that. So I don't always know what goes on in the halls and on the weekends and things like that. But from what I see, overall, academy students tend to be much more accepting of differences in students, whether those are racial differences or differences in how people dress, how people act, things like that. I don't really see a lot of major problems between students. Obviously, there are disagreements that take place, and I hear about those things. But I think that overall, students are much more accepting of each other here than they would be at their old high schools. I'm sure you guys have your cliques.
Yeah.
But they don't come out all that strongly, at least on my side of things. I know they're there, but they're not as pronounced as you would see at a regular high school.
Okay. Are there any aspects of the academy you would have liked to see in your own high school?
I would have loved to have seen more AP dual credit courses, more challenging courses. I went to a small high school. My graduating class was 45 students. So I probably had a better high school experience than maybe someone at a larger high school, simply because there were challenging courses there, but not at the level that you guys have here. And knowing where I came from and where I was at in terms of grades and things like that, I would have liked to have handled more challenging classes to have that challenge. You hear a lot from academy students out of their old high school. They never had to really work much. They had homework and so forth, but a lot of times they got that done in class or in a study hall, and when they went home, they never had anything to do. And the challenge on the homework or projects they might have been given was very low. And in here, you know that that's obviously not the case. I mean, if you come in with that same old high school mentality that you're not going to have to work because you just have that raw intelligence, it doesn't fly very well here. Students learn very quickly. And I wish I had more of that in my high school. The residential side is really neat here. I'm not sure how I would have handled that as a student. If there was a school like this in my state, I grew up in Iowa, I'm not sure I would have been able to make the leap here. I don't know if I would have had the personality to. I think once I had gotten to the school and adapted after the first few weeks, I would have been fine. Making that actual jump to coming to a school like this would have been difficult for me. But I do wish my old high school offered more challenging opportunities.
Okay, cool beans. Is there something, or what is the most eccentric or weird thing that you've seen at the school thus far?
Most eccentric, weird thing that I've seen at this school. Well, I don't know if they do it every year. The last few years, you've had all the days where the guys wear skirts and dresses. I don't know, it's not something that really bothers me. I've kind of grown numb to it. I don't really care anymore. But I remember the first time seeing that, I thought, that's kind of weird. It's not just one, it's a bunch of them that are all doing this. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that pops in my head. I mean, you guys don't have the same, like, I don't know, dress codes or piercing codes or whatever that other high schools might have. I don't really pay that much attention to those things, so it doesn't really stick out in my mind. The dress thing does, but I might just have to end with that. I can't think of anything else. I'm sure they're there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if I was teaching in a public high school system for a number of years and then jumped here, there'd be so many things that would stick out to me. But having gone through, the college system and teaching there, I see the same things there that I would see here, and I just don't see big differences, nor do I really care if there are big differences between students and how they dress and things like that.
Makes sense. If you could change something about the academy, what would you change?
If I could change something about the academy, what would I change? I know that you guys go through orientation in the summer before you arrive for your junior year, and I know they try to tell you as much as they can about how difficult the course load's going to be and how you're really going to have to work from day one. And I'm not sure if there's really much else that the orientation group can do for you, because you don't start classes until August. But every year, there's always a big group of juniors that really struggle right away, because they're trying to make that transition from their old high school to here. And you probably noticed some of that yourself, that there is a big adjustment right away in terms of workload. And I don't know how I would change this, but it'd be nice if when juniors come in, they were ready for that change. Like they had somehow already gone through that adjustment period and were ready for the extra work that they might have here. Most juniors will adapt just fine after a few weeks, but it's still kind of tough those first few weeks. I wish we had a new building that was dedicated just to the academy, with new dorms for you guys, new office buildings, state-of-the-art lab rooms and things like that. That's way up there on that wish list of things that will probably never happen, but that would be really nice. I'd like an office that's not an old converted dorm room, but
What are you gonna do?
Can't do too much about it right now. Maybe if I win the big lottery one day, I can donate a chunk of that to a building here. But that's not gonna happen. I have to buy lottery tickets first, and I don't. So
Yeah, like with your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. This concludes our interview at 12:43.